Today on Discover Wisconsin, if you're curious about what makes millennials tick, we're going to show you. These go-getters are young and hungry in Dairyland.
Hello and welcome to Discover Wisconsin.
This is an anthem for those who look for more and never say they've seen it all. Windows down, let's take a ride. The good land's great tonight.
This episode of Discover Wisconsin, America's Dairyland, is brought to you by the Dairy Farm Families of Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board. America's Dairyland is my land.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Discover Wisconsin. I'm Marie Justice. We've all heard about the millennial generation. They're well-educated, tech-savvy, ambitious, and they're looking to make an impact. Today, we're meeting 3 young individuals whose chosen careers fit right into their lifestyles. And they're taking cues from past generations to create an even brighter future.
One of these fine young entrepreneurs is Zoe Brooks, a former Alice in Dairyland. Zoe made the decision while in college to return to her family's dairy farm. She's now the 6th generation to farm the Brooks land.
We kind of have a motto around our farm, and that's to leave a legacy, not a liability. And I think that's pretty broad-reaching on everything that we do here, is to improve what was done before you and to leave it better for the next generation, to leave them something to build upon and also to make your predecessors proud.
Zoe is taking this motto to heart and using what she's learned from her ancestors to create a more sustainable farm for future generations.
They left big shoes to fill, that's for sure, but they really set the stage. I'm 6th generation here on the farm. The 5 generations before me have grown the farm and evolved it and shaped it into what it is today. And without them, we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't be running this operation like we are. So I credit everything we have today to the hard work that they put in and the vision that they had, that they wanted to keep this farm going. And it's been going for 162 years strong now. And it's my goal to keep it going for another 160 years.
Our second young impresario is Wisconsin master cheesemaker John Metzig. At his young age, he's already making his mark in the world of cheesemaking.
That's how I grew up with my parents. They did a great job of encouraging us to take risk or to go outside our comfort zone. And so it's just, I guess, sitting down and dreaming about what do I want my future to look like, and then what do I need to do to make that happen. It's been taking longer than I thought. Obviously, I think that's everybody's life, is things take a lot longer than you think it would. But just every day, just try to get better and keep focusing on it.
John was the youngest cheesemaker at the time to get licensed in the state of Wisconsin at age 18, and is part of the 2nd father and son duo to earn Wisconsin Master Cheesemaker certification.
My biggest moments so far, definitely one of them was standing on the stage receiving my Master Cheesemaker license. It was great having my dad be able to do that for me, especially being only 2nd father-son Master Cheesemaker in the state. And definitely being one of the youngest to receive it.
Our 3rd young and hungry entrepreneur is Patrick McCormick, an ambitious young chef who climbed his way up the culinary ladder by working at some of the best farm-to-table restaurants in the Madison area.
Tornado room was cutting my teeth, learning how to use a knife, learning how to be efficient, run a station, work clean, show up on time, stay late. But Nostrano was culinary school. And I would show up so early so I could be the only person to braise the beef. Stay late so I was the only person building the stocks. It just made me realize too that you put the effort in, you can make it happen.
Patrick's venture into the culinary arts was sparked by his desire for a cell phone. He started working at a local fast food joint on State Street to make enough money to buy one. He quickly rose to a managerial position and then realized his true desire was to be in a professional kitchen.
Took my fast food resume to a bunch of restaurants around the square, walked into Tornado Room Steakhouse and met the executive chef there, and that was my gateway into the kitchen. So from that one late night shift, mind you, I'm a full-time student, I was offered a baking position, which I was like, great, I can come in before school, I can bake for 3 hours, and then I'll go to class. So it was very intense during school, but I knew how much I love food.
While all three of these individuals are young and hungry for success in their respective careers, they are taking what they've learned from their predecessors to create a vibrant future. Head to discoverwisconsin.com to learn more about these ambitious young individuals. And stay tuned, because coming up next, a former Alice in Dairyland will impress you with her current role. Welcome back to America's Dairyland. It's time to learn more about these young and hungry and Dairyland personalities. Zoe Brooks grew up on her family's dairy and row crop farm, not quite sure she was cut out for life on a dairy farm.
I was terrified of calves when I first started. I was terrified of getting kicked and just terrified of a little 100-pound calf. And it's funny looking back on that now and being a dairy farmer. But back in the day, yeah, I was terrified of calves, but grew to absolutely love them.
The fear Zoe overcame quickly turned into her passion when she started her coursework in college.
I was a sophomore at college at UW-Madison. I was majoring in animal science, and it wasn't until about halfway through college that I realized that the opportunity that I had back here was something incredibly rare. And I think I really learned that through my classmates and professors and colleagues that I worked with down in Madison, is that not everybody has an opportunity like this, and it only comes around once in a lifetime. And it was a big leap. It was a leap of faith, for sure, but I think that was the moment where the light bulb clicked and I said, this is what I want to do.
After college and a year as Alice in Dairyland, Zoe returned to the family farm and concentrated on expanding and upgrading the facility for future generations.
A major goal here when we built our new facility on our dairy was to be transparent, was to have open doors and welcome in anybody who wanted to come and see a modern dairy farm and see how milk is produced here in Wisconsin. And we take them through and show them how we produce milk, how we care for our animals, why we use the practices that we do, how we have modernized the industry. And everybody that comes for a tour always leaves learning something. And it's my hope that they take that and that they spread that message and share it with either their kids or their colleagues, and just put a good word out for the dairy industry.
The first part of the upgrade was the calf facility, where animal comfort and health care are high priorities.
You guys have made a lot of new upgrades around the farm. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, our first step in our expansion process was focusing on our calves and growing a big group of heifer calves that would be able to fill our new milking facility one day. So step one was building them a new barn where they could grow and get off to a good start right away. And we decided we wanted to do a group housing barn with automatic feeders, and multiple reasons for that. Number one being we wanted these calves to have normal interaction, to grow up in a herd-like setting, because cows are herd animals. They like to be with other cows. So the social growth that we see in these calves is phenomenal. We take visitors here at the farm through the whole cycle. We start with the feed. We go out to a field and we show them how we produce that forage, where we store it, how we harvest it, how it's mixed up in a complete ration for our animals. And we also go through the other cycle, what comes out the back end of a cow, and how we use that to put nutrients back into the land, and it's a full cycle. Then that land is fertile and able to grow feed that next season. And it's also important for us too that we go through the cow life cycle as well. We start out with calves and show them when a calf is born, where she goes and how she is raised and how she becomes a part of the milking herd. And I think that kind of is an important aspect for them to learn as well, is seeing from the start, from a calf, how she is raised to be a productive dairy animal.
Working alongside her father and grandfather, Zoe is quick to give them credit for ensuring that conservation remains a cornerstone of the operation. And while she's taking what she's learned from them to propel the family farm into the future, she doesn't feel obligated to be on the farm. Rather, she's certain she's made the right career choice.
I think what makes me tick is that I find farming to be the most gratifying career that is out there. You're literally able to see the fruits of your labor. All the work that you put into it yields a result. And that's what really drives me every day to get up in the morning, is what can I make better today? What can we improve upon today?
Do you have an interesting story about a young, ambitious person?
Tell us about them by going to discoverwisconsin.com and choosing Young and Hungry.
Coming up, meet a youthful cheesemaker who's going old school with his new Artisan and specialty cheeses. Welcome back to America's Dairyland. where we're discovering what keeps millennials young and hungry in Dairyland. John Metzig is the fourth among 5 brothers and the only one who is following in his father's footsteps. At 18 years old, John was the youngest person to obtain his cheesemaker's license. And in 2016, he earned his master cheesemaker certification, the highest level of artistry and dedication to cheesemaking.
It wasn't always a plan of mine, but it was always in the back of my head, an opportunity. I just think growing up watching my parents own their own business, I always felt like I wanted to work for myself. And with the cheese making, it's a perfect combination. I'm 4th generation, so it's, I gotta do my best too.
John's early career goals didn't include being a cheesemaker. His initial interest involved working on a dairy farm milking cows.
I was never really too interested in the actual cheese making part. I always enjoyed going on the milk route and the dairy farming. And then it was high school, I worked on dairy farms, and that's what I really enjoyed. And my senior year of high school, my dad gave me the option to go down to Madison and take the week-long short course and get my cheesemaker license.
Thanks to his father's encouragement, John took UW-Madison's Cheese Tech short course.
So I went down there, got my cheesemaker license, and then I went to UW River Falls. And one of the reasons I went to River Falls was because of the cheese making. I knew they had the option, and I just assumed, well, I already have my cheesemaker license, maybe I should use this opportunity. And then it was my first food science class that really stuck, or found that was very interesting. And that's really where it clicked, that I understood what was going on, completely understood what was going on. So that's when I figured I should pursue this.
After college, he went to work at Crave Brothers Farmstead Cheese and then headed to Ireland and Europe to learn more about old world wash rind cheeses. I was lucky enough to be able to see John crafting some of his new artisan cheese firsthand, and there's no doubt this young man is passionate about what he's creating.
So it's one thing to see you make cheese, but it's another thing to try it. I'm excited to see what you have here today.
First we have St. Jean. This is the first wash rind cheese we made. It's based off of Port Salut, traditional French style.
It's very soft and smooth. And the rind, is it okay to eat the rind?
Yes, the rinds are edible.
They are, okay.
Yeah. There's a lot more flavor on the rind.
No, there definitely is. I like the smoothness, and the texture in the rind is a little bit rougher, so you get the 2 different textures kind of married together.
Second, we have a Red Willow, which is kind of based off of a traditional Munster.
And then this is also an artisan cheese as well, right?
This is a softer version.
This is one that you wash in beer?
Yeah, this one we wash with a local beer from Fox River Brewery. And we do use different starter cultures to make it a little softer. And you can see it's a much softer, pliable cheese.
And a little bit more of that yeast. You can actually taste it in there. So it's safe to say that cheese making is absolutely in your blood. There's a long family history of you doing it. What made you want to do artisan cheese?
We can't compete on the large scale, so we're trying to find the artisan specialty cheeses.
Absolutely.
In this area to grow.
And growing it is. Wisconsin accounts for 45% of all specialty cheese made in the United States, and Metzig is proud to be on the cutting edge, offering new varieties for people to enjoy.
With artisan cheese, it was slow in the beginning, but now I think the next couple of years, you're just gonna see it explode. I definitely do feel there is growth for the artisan movement as a whole, because again, the millennials, they wanna know where the products come from. They want something different.
No matter what happens, Metzig is in the specialty cheese-making business for the long haul.
So the thing I love about cheese making, why I enjoy what I do, is how you can start with the same milk and how you handle it. You can get different products. And then the balance between the art and the chemistry, microbiology. And then I love the challenge of being consistent day after day.
You can visit and learn about all these businesses by simply logging onto discoverwisconsin.com. Up next, Chef Patrick McCormick whips up a fantastic feast. Don't go away. We're back in America's Dairyland. Our third determined individual is Patrick McCormick. He's the executive chef at Oliver's Public House in Madison, where he's taking the concept of farm to table to a new level.
My earliest memories of cooking would be in my grandparents' kitchen on 83rd and Capitol. And every Saturday and Sunday, my brother and I would get dropped off there, and we would make cakes, we'd bake bread. One of those recipes we still use, and that's one of my best go-to recipes, are the squishy buns, or now affectionately known as the OPH burger bun.
Patrick honed his skill and passion for food while working his way through college.
When I was studying geology at UW, which is interesting because it kind of brought together my thirst of wanting to understand the planet and also food, which comes from the planet, and how there's this symbiotic relationship between the two of them. Scientific process is huge in cooking. Time, temperature, and pressure. That's how rocks are formed. You can use that concept anywhere in the kitchen.
Lucky for the foodies of the world, Patrick employed that philosophy throughout his life, and it's well suited to his cooking style.
My food philosophy has kind of evolved since I started cooking. And what I learned growing up is that flavors that you recognize are really important, and they bring nostalgia. There's this huge breadth of ingredients made available in Dane County and Wisconsin in general. And I want to be able to support the local economy. I want to be able to use those ingredients that are indigenous to this area and make tasty food for people. I think it starts in the soil, it ends on the plate, and you have to kind of respect that whole lifespan of the ingredient.
Part of that respect is ingrained in the way Patrick selects ingredients for his restaurant. Heading to neighborhood farmers markets, Patrick has developed relationships with the farmers, and in turn they offer him great tasting, quality ingredients to work with.
Absolutely. Cool. Sounds good.
All right.
Man, I'm psyched about those ribeyes. That's one of my biggest philosophies, is that food brings people together. You want it to be about the food being delicious. The food has to be delicious, but you also have to be able to invoke that sense of family and camaraderie almost at the
Because
dining table.
dining is an experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's meant for people to sit down, enjoy food, share conversation.
Absolutely.
Right.
Patrick enjoys creating relationships with local farmers and food crafters. He believes it's a vital connection that proves itself when it ends up on a plate.
I have a cheesemaker who I've developed a long-standing relationship with, Willie Lehner. There's an omelet in our brunch menu called Willie's Omelet. So he'll come in after market, and Willie always gets his namesake omelet. And it's just really cool to see it all come full circle.
And that's just what happened when Patrick invited us to his restaurant to enjoy a spectacular meal made with fresh, locally sourced ingredients.
Quick word just about our course one. We have baked red willow cheese. So this is a beautiful wash rind cheese. As it ages, it gets a little bit more soft, a little bit of funk, but it has just that perfect creaminess and balance to it. So I took the rind off of that cheese, split it in half horizontal, stuffed that with black walnuts. So it's coming with our house focaccia bread. It's meant to be a shared plate.
The meal also highlighted other fresh local products bought at the farmers market and featured sweet corn ice cream for dessert.
I hope you've enjoyed getting to know these ambitious young entrepreneurs as much as I have. A toast to good food, good friends, and a great future. See you next week as we continue to discover Wisconsin. Cheers.
Cheers.